Do you think Jesus Christ would have had wet dreams and nocturnal emissions? Wet dreams, also known as nocturnal emissions, are a normal part of human development, especially during puberty and adolescence. They can occur in both males and females. Wet dreams are often associated with hormonal changes. Increased hormone levels during puberty can lead to sexual arousal and wet dreams. Sexual development. Wet dreams can be a natural part of exploring one's sexuality. Sleep patterns. Wet dreams often occur during the REM stage of sleep, when brain activity is higher. Having wet dreams doesn't necessarily mean anything is wrong or abnormal. They're a natural bodily function. If you're concerned about wet dreams or have questions about sexual health, consider talking to a trusted healthcare provider or a sex educator. Would you like more information on sexual health or development? The question about whether Jesus experienced wet dreams is not addressed in historical or biblical texts. There is no specific information or record in religious scriptures or historical sources that mention Jesus' personal bodily experiences such as this. In general, discussions about the personal or biological aspects of historical or religious figures often rely on speculation, as such details are typically not documented or considered relevant to their spiritual teachings or historical significance. According to Eugene Mormon, Yeshua, Jesus, was a human, a male, and had male genitals and male feelings about sexuality, just like any other human male would. The Bible says that he did not sin, that is, did not violate any of the laws of his God. That means he did not commit adultery, which consists of fornication, homosexuality, incest, and bestiality. I cannot stand this tendency to read into the scriptures things that are obviously wrong and twisted, where it is suggested that he would have committed any of those things. They use the scriptures to support twisted ideas, but ignore the ones where it says, he did not sin. Of course he had sexual feelings, and all of his parts worked exactly as they were supposed to. That includes his genitals. So he absolutely had wet dreams and nocturnal emissions. Those are things that humans have. According to Kenneth Archer, according to Christian mythology, Jesus the Christ was fully man and fully God. All of the humans that I know have sexual dreams and nocturnal emissions are normal functions of the male anatomy. If we look closer into the mythology, it would be considered normal for humans to marry young. Jesus the man would have had a wife because that was the law. In some Christian myths, Jesus was married and had children. Is a wet dream or nocturnal emission a sin? Wet dreams and nocturnal emissions are fairly common in the lives of men. The Bible mentions emissions in a few places. Leviticus 15:16, 18:32, 22:4, Deuteronomy 23:10. Deuteronomy 23:10 specifically refers to nocturnal emissions. If one of your men is unclean because of a nocturnal emission, he is to go outside the camp and stay there. Many young men and older men struggle with this concept. Is a wet dream or nocturnal emission sinful? How can it be a sin if we have no control over it? Ultimately, we cannot control what we dream about or what happens with our bodies while we are asleep. However, if we fill our minds with lustful or sinful things during the day, it will likely show up in our dreams. A nocturnal emission is a natural bodily function that is made more frequent by sexual overstimulation. A nocturnal emission is not sinful in and of itself, but it can be the result of sinful thoughts, desires, and input. If you have a wet dream or nocturnal emission, examine your thought life. Examine the sort of images to which you are exposing yourself. If you find that you have allowed yourself to be inflamed by lust, confess that to the Lord and ask for His help in overcoming it. In such a case, the wet dream or nocturnal emission is the result of sin, not a sin in and of itself. Follow the words of Philippians chapter 4:8. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. If you find that the nocturnal emission or wet dream was simply the result of the body naturally relieving itself, you do not need to confess anything to the Lord. The Old Testament law was very ceremonial in its treatment of bodily discharges for both men and women. Thankfully, we are not bound by these regulations. A man who has had a wet dream or nocturnal emission is not unclean. Again, the issue is what is going on in your mind. The reactions of our bodies are the result of what takes place in our minds. Matthew 12:34-35.